So this presentation is all about integrating the counterclaim into your writing. So we're going to be using They Say, I Say again, focusing on Chapter 6. Alright, here we go. So, first, let's define what the counterclaim is and why we should use this in our writing. So, if as you're reading through They Say, I Say, they have a couple different names for the counterclaim. One name is the naysayer, another is an objection, but they're all talking about the same thing, counterclaim. So, planting the naysayer, as Chapter 6 states, is addressing counterclaims in your writing. And as we've talked about in class, there's a couple of reasons why we should do this. One, it helps to strengthen our own argument when we can reply confidently against an opposing viewpoint. And it also helps to bolster our ethos or our credibility as a writer when we can show that we've considered all sides of an argument. So it essentially eliminates the perception of bias. Of course, we have our own opinions that we're biased against or biased for, I guess, but in showing that we are knowledgeable about other viewpoints, we don't appear as being closed-minded or single-minded in our argument. Okay, so now we're going to talk about how you actually integrate these counterclaims into your writing. So there's really three parts. The first part is to state what the counterclaim is, and then along with that, name the naysayer. So this is where you name either the person or group of people, or just a general group, like people who disagree with me. This is where you basically give a label to the people or group that feels the way that you don't feel, I guess. So if you take a look at page 82 in your book, you'll see a couple templates for doing this. So the first templates for entertaining objections, so it's basically just templates for beginning to introduce the objection. So if you take a look at the third one, it says, of course, many will probably disagree. So you're saying essentially many people, or the one above it, some readers may challenge my view by insisting that, and then you share their opinion. So you're not really you're not naming a specific person or group of people as a naysayer, but you're still applying a label to it. If you take a look at the next page on 83, there's more specific labels. So you'll see feminists, social Darwinists, biologists, followers and critics of Malcolm X. So if there's a specific population that you feel would disagree, or maybe a specific author that would disagree with you and believe the counterclaim that you are addressing, then you can always apply a label to it. And then if you go ahead and turn to page 84, you'll see some more templates for introducing the objections a little bit informally, if that's more your style. Okay, so you're going to do that. You're going to state the counterclaim. Okay. You're going to state the counterclaim, and then you're going to have to provide evidence to illustrate the counterclaim. So that's where you have to give the counterclaim some airtime. So this evidence might come from some of the texts that you've read in the springboard, or it can come from some just personal experiences or hypothetical situations. Once you've done that, then you need to respond. So your response has two pieces. One, you have to concede. So that means that you take a moment to agree to an extent with the counterclaim. You share the part of it that you can see or that you can understand. But you ultimately still need to stand your ground. And this is where you will refute the counterclaim. So if you think of it as kind of a debate, you're going to start your essay by sharing your opinion. Then the opposing side or the counterclaim gets a chance to talk. Then you get a chance to offer your rebuttal. So you would start your rebuttal by agreeing with some of it, but then ultimately you need to refute and show why your position is actually the better position. So it's important to directly refute the evidence that was used to develop the counterclaim, and then kind of build on from there and supply maybe more evidence or reference points that you made earlier in your essay. So right here, while I agree that, I still maintain that, that's like a general template for first introducing the concession, and then maintaining or then offering your refutation. And as I said, you want to make sure you provide evidence to support your refutations. And then if you turn to page 89 in your book, so page 89, there are some templates that help you do this, that help you introduce the concession, but then ultimately begin stating your refutation. Alright, so at this point you're going to want to office mix, click on the table of contents tab and go directly to slide 4 and then to the next slide, slide 5. So there are 2 questions here for you to answer. The first is going to ask you to look back at the templates on pages 82 through 85 and use the templates to type an introduction to a counterclaim in your essay. So this could be just like a hypothetical practice exercise, or you can actually begin writing part of the essay that would address the counterclaim. And then the next question is going to ask you to look at the templates on page 89 and then use them to type a concession and then the statement of refutation. Okay, so some final tips. As I alluded to before, you want to make sure that you represent the counterclaims fairly. So this means devoting enough airtime to the counterclaim. So you should spend a little bit of time sharing some evidence or some reasons that the opposing side would have for believing the counterclaim. So be fair and be generous. You also want to avoid a mocking tone or an oversimplification of the counterclaim as you address it. Remember, you're trying to persuade people who disagree with you to agree with you. So if you mock them, you're going to alienate them, and you're not going to convince them to believe you. With that being said, dismissing the counterclaim by saying things like "that's just wrong" or "that's stupid," that's not going to help you achieve your purpose either. In addition, you want to make sure that you address counterclaims that you can overcome. There are many, many sides to every debatable issue, so make sure that you are addressing a side of the issue that you can confidently refute. And with that being said, and this comes directly from the They Say I Say book, the more you give voice to your critics' objections, the more you tend to disarm those critics, especially if you go on to answer their objections in convincing ways. So if you can include multiple counterclaims in your essay and you can refute them all confidently, that will go a long way for bolstering your argument. Okay, that is it. Thanks.